And I would like to introduce you to our chair, Dr. Lisa O'Connor.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of our faculty and staff, we welcome you. We are so excited that you're here and so excited to celebrate you. I'd like you to just take a moment to think about your very first day of your very first class and how you felt at that time. You probably, if you were like me, were thinking this is going to be forever. It's going to take forever. And here we are. And I hope as you reflect on who you were that day, that you see growth. And I hope this program has helped transform your thinking in some really fundamental way. I know that this journey that you've undertaken, the path has been paved with many sacrifices. There were nights maybe you didn't get to put your kids to bed, times with your friends that you had to opt out of, money that you could have spent on something else other than tuition and books, or even sleep that you lost out on and now you need to catch up on. This journey doesn't happen without a lot of sacrifices. And look, you're here, you've done it, and it's really remarkable. So many of you have children and you care for your parents and you've done it anyway. And we're just so proud. We know that this journey, though, doesn't happen alone. There have been a lot of people on this path who support you. So I'd like to take a minute to recognize all the people who've helped you along the way. Your parents, your spouses, your children, perhaps your grandparents, your friends, and as the chancellor always likes to say, maybe even your frenemies. But you have not done it alone. And so we thank all of these people who maybe some of them are here today who've supported you along the way, and give them a hand. I'd also like to recognize the faculty. As the chair of this program, I can say without immodesty that we have the best faculty of any program that you would ever have chosen to attend, and I'm very proud of them. So let's just take a moment to acknowledge the role that they've had in this journey for you. Yeah. Next slide. So now I will give to you the person who's going to introduce our first student speaker.
Good evening. I would like to introduce our student speaker, Patrick Cash. Patrick Cash earned his BA in History and Secondary Education from Mars Hill College in 2011 and his MA in History from East Tennessee State University in 2014. Patrick began his career as an archivist in August 2014 when he was hired as the Associate Archivist for the Southern Appalachian Archives at Mars Hill University. In 2019, Patrick was named the Assistant University Archivist for East Carolina University's Joyner Library Special Collections, a position he held until November 2022, when he was promoted to Library Assistant Professor as the Manuscripts Curator for the East Carolina Manuscript Collection. Patrick currently resides in Winterville, North Carolina with his wife, Jamie, and their 4 children, Ethan, Finn, Kendall, and Lillian. And now I give you Patrick Cash.
Thank you, Dr. Bird, and thank you to our faculty and the graduation committee for inviting me to speak to all of you this evening. I'm truly honored. Before I get to my prepared remarks, I want to show my appreciation to a few individuals who are with us virtually tonight. First, thank you to my wife, Jamie. I cannot stress how much your love, support, and belief in me and my work have helped me accomplish so much. You never wavered in stepping in and taking care of our children and home as classes and assignments pulled me away and made me unavailable. Please know I am forever grateful. To my children, I must thank you for allowing me to miss bedtimes, ball games, story times, and so much more during my studies. I love you all, and it is my greatest joy in life to be your husband and father. When I was first offered this opportunity to speak tonight, I began racking my brain on what to cover. We all know that the library profession is currently faced with many challenges. Staffing shortages, budget issues, and concerns about safety can make working in a library setting difficult. Combine this with attacks from our elected leaders who now seem more interested in fighting Mickey Mouse, restricting an individual's ability to use their chosen pronouns, and propagating falsehoods rather than supporting intellectual freedom in libraries. While these negative stories and attacks on our freedom to read what we choose are all over our newsfeed, tonight, I have decided not to focus on these issues. Instead, I want to speak on how, in the face of all these challenges, it is important that those of us here tonight remember why we are in this profession we are in and the impact that our work can have on our patrons. As librarians, we know that we must be stewards of information, proponents of literacy, and advocates for intellectual freedom. We have been taught to manage information, curate collections, connect people with resources, and foster a love of learning. But we must also remember that our responsibilities go beyond organizing books on shelves or rehousing rare documents in archival boxes. We have been entrusted by our colleagues and fellow citizens with the responsibility of promoting access, diversity, and inclusivity in the world of knowledge. While it's critical that each of us remember this as we move forward in our careers, it is important that each of us also identify why we individually want to work and remain in the profession to ensure that we never lose that passion that we have. Tonight, I wanted to share the story of when I found my why. I began my career as an archivist in 2014 at Mars Hill University on a whim. I accepted a job I never applied for, despite the fact that I never wanted to be an archivist or a librarian. It wasn't until 2016, during a project in which I was conducting and processing oral history interviews with the local military veterans for the Southern Appalachian Archives, that I finally found my why in my professional career. During one particular interview with a World War II veteran and his family, I was pulled aside by the veteran's wife and daughter after our conversation concluded, and they thanked me with tears in their eyes, because this was the first time in their life that they had heard their husband and father speak about his experiences during the war at all. It was at this moment that I had first realized the power that the work I was doing had. While getting a chance to work with some truly one-of-a-kind historical documents makes the history nerd in me very happy, it has been since that moment in 2016 that my why has been that my work can help individuals find and connect with stories and information that otherwise would have been lost to them. When I am having one of those inevitable rough days that we will all have in the workplace, or reading about the most recent attack on libraries, librarians, and intellectual freedom, knowing that the work that I do has the ability to assist individuals to find the information they may have been searching for, and getting to see the emotion that overcomes them when they find that document, deed, or photograph in the collection I am responsible for preserving, is what keeps me engaged and passionate about my career and my work. So tonight, fellow graduates, I want to encourage each of you to find your why. Find the thing that makes you passionate about your work. Find the thing that helps you get through the rough professional patches so that each of us can be better librarians and better individuals. This is critically important because we as librarians must remember that the importance of serving our communities with empathy and understanding. Libraries are not just repositories of books, but they are also safe spaces that foster inclusivity and diversity and promote social justice. We as librarians have the power to make a positive impact on people's lives by providing access to this information and supporting lifelong learning and creating welcoming environments where everyone feels valued, respected, and this is needed now more than ever. So tonight, I want to say congratulations to each and every one of my fellow classmates. I wish you each success and happiness as we leave UNCG and embark on this chapter of our lives. And please remember, find your why. Find why you're doing this, and always remember that it will get you through the hard times. I can promise you that. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Patrick. You have tears in my eyes. Thinking about the why. Why are we here? Why are you doing what you're doing? And I think that's the reason you're in the building. It's not for the paycheck, but it's definitely to support and help our communities. And I challenge you all to reflect on that why daily. Sometimes that helps us through those hard times. Can't tell you how much we appreciate your time, Patrick. Thank you so much. We have another guest speaker who is a student, and he's coming to us all the way from just about close to Brussels in Belgium. So he's taken a little bit of a hike to get here today. But I would like to introduce you to John Newkirk. John is graduating with his MLIS with certifications in both school and public librarianship, as many of you are. During his time in the program, he has explored the school librarian's role in enriching adolescent literacy, collaborative planning, and instructional design, as well as sharing what he has learned with his students and his colleagues. One thing that he has enjoyed the most about the program is being able to apply what he's learned in class to his professional practice on the daily. When he is not teaching for the Department of Defense education activity, he and his wife enjoy traveling to new places, which he's been all over the world, I believe, from talking with him, haunting bookstores and libraries, and creating stained glass artwork. Didn't know that about you, John. But we are so glad to have you here today, and can't wait to hear you tell us your why.
Thanks, Tammy. Before I begin this evening, let me congratulate my peers as the LIS graduating class of 2023. It seems odd to be able to call ourselves alums, because at 9:59 this morning, we were still grad students, but I kind of like this upgrade. Also, congratulations and thank you to everyone who has supported us as we have worked to complete our programs. Your encouragement has been paramount along the way, and we could not have done this without you. And a special shout out to my wife, who had to endure 3 years of, I need this book for class, and it will be okay, we'll just buy it on the bookshelf. Another group that deserves our appreciation is the faculty and staff of the LIS programs. You've been instrumental in guiding our learning, and we are grateful for your willingness to share your passions as we have navigated our coursework. Who else could teach us that s'mores are not just for the campfire? That information organization could be cool. That John Cleese and the Kingdomality inventory could remind us that group projects were not as awful as we remembered them from undergrad. And that there's always something for the good of the order. Who else could create an out-of-this-world book list that includes titles we couldn't put down, that made us cry, or that made us squirm, often all at the same time? In each class in the program, I was amazed at what our professors and instructors brought to us as resources and how they encouraged us to dig deeper into what we were learning. My only regret from my time in the program is that I did not have the opportunity to work with all of our amazing faculty. I wanted to stay longer, but the admissions office said I had to go. On a side note, Dr. Moorfield Lang is always up for a good story. Just leave the puppet.
You don't want to hear this, huh? Is that?
John, you're muted.
It's always fun. Let me start that over again.
Dr. Moorfield Lane is where we ended.
Okay, hang on. Okay. So on a side note, Dr. Moorfield Lang is always up for a good story. Just leave the puppets out of it. When Tammy Brewer asked me if I would be interested in speaking tonight, I was worried she had called the wrong person. We double-checked our s'more and Padlet, and when I was convinced that my name wasn't a typo on the list, I asked what topics I should consider. She said that pretty much anything goes, just stay away from religion and politics. So, a libertarian priest or rabbi on a horse walk into a bar. And on that note, I'm humbled to have been asked to be here tonight as a speaker and thankful for the opportunity. Like Patrick, as I tried to gather my thoughts over the past week for what I might like to say tonight, I found myself all over the board and bouncing from idea to idea. I began to settle on the question of how we got here. How did we decide to devote however long we were in classes to pursue a degree in library and information science? What made us want to go to library school? I'm not sure about you, but the promise of being locked in a giant room full of books and being told that I could just read sealed the deal for me. Imagine my disappointment. And thinking about how we arrived here, I started contemplating where we go from here. When we head out into the world tomorrow as newly minted librarians, how do we use our superpowers? As Uncle Ben told Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. So let me start with how I got here. I was blessed to have grown up with access to books and other reading material for as long as I can remember. I saw my parents reading, and we brought home stacks of books from the public library. One of my dad's favorite buildings is the public library in Kilgore, Texas. And 3 generations of our family have checked books out from that library. Trips to the public library became trips to the school library. The elementary school library had this really awesome treehouse-like space, more of a nook, where Miss Nunn, the librarian, would occasionally do read-alouds with us. These experiences set into motion a fascination with libraries that continued through school. When our middle school library made the technological jump from checkout cards with the date stamp to barcodes, I was one of the ones who wanted to help in the library. When I went to college as an undergrad, I frequently found myself in the library on campus studying and reading. Having never been exposed to the Library of Congress classification system before then, imagine my confusion. I even found myself locked in a debate one afternoon with a librarian on why the library closed at 5 on Saturday afternoon, yet was open until midnight on Sunday. I didn't care much about Saturday afternoon, but I had to be in class at 8 on Monday morning. Yes, I was that person. Oddly, some of it rubbed off on our kids along the way, as all 3 have spent more than their fair share of time in the library. Our youngest daughter was a student librarian in high school. On the surface, it was a noble thing until we realized that she was skimming the new releases off the top before anyone else could check them out. You might say that was an abuse of power, but she argued it was just being in the right place at the right time. So when I returned to public education after several other career paths, I was drawn to the library. In some schools, I saw library programs that worked well. In others, the library was a place that many students avoided. In most of these schools, I thought it could be done differently, and I unknowingly set into motion a series of events that brought me here today. Along the way, I've discovered that the field of library science is more than I could have ever imagined and is full of almost endless possibilities. Who knew there were special collections librarians or librarians that specialize as archivists? My wife's mom is an art slide librarian. Who knew? Even as school librarians, our role has changed and expanded beyond circulation. Librarians have moved just beyond books, and we explore the intersection between the fields of library science, information science, and instructional technology. These possibilities are truly endless. So I ask the question, where do we go from here? What is my role as a librarian, especially for those I hope to serve? Jane Stanton Hitchcock, in discussing libraries, commented that to her, librarians are the keepers of the flame of knowledge. In essence, we are keepers of the light. We don't keep it for ourselves. Instead, we tend it to shine as a guide for others. Unlike a candle consumed as it burns, I see this flame of knowledge more as a lamp, and we often see this imagery used. Growing up, we had 2 oil lamps on the mantle above the fireplace on either side of the clock. I tell my students it was because they hadn't invented electricity yet, but these primarily decorative lamps came in handy if the power ever went out. A quick strike of a match and the lamp would cast a soft glow across the room. A slight adjustment of the wick and the light would dim or brighten as needed. I can remember being fascinated at an early age that the wick never seemed to burn. Unlike a candle that could burn out, the lamp could burn almost forever as long as the oil was replenished and the wick was trimmed. I honestly can't remember where I first saw an example of one, probably in some Sherlock Holmes movie, but I remember thinking that I wanted to be a lamplighter. Before electric street lights replaced gas lamps, lamplighters would come around and light the lamps. Lamplighters were also tasked with maintaining those lamps and ensuring they worked properly. I figured they got to walk around with a long stick that shoots flames, and it sounded like the perfect job. They were the keepers of the flame, and I would propose that we, as librarians, are modern-day lamplighters. In keeping the flame, we serve as a beacon for others. Ever since Thag banged 2 rocks together to create a spark, humans have been using a flame as a source of light. This light source serves to illuminate a path or a room in the form of a candle or a lamp, or to guide a ship as with a lighthouse. Not unlike that ship's captain relying on the sweep of that lighthouse's lamp, librarians are a beacon of light for those seeking knowledge. People look to us to guide them toward what they want to know or what they need. Whether this is in the form of information or the right book at the right time. Thanks, Judy Bloom. Our place is that of the lamplighter who tends the flame. In doing so, we ensure that the flame burns brightly. Today's landscape makes this more critical than ever, and in the face of challenges to everything we do, we must work to ensure that the flame of knowledge is well cared for. We must make sure that it remains a beacon in the night. Spider Robinson refers to librarians as secret masters. Neil Gaiman acknowledges that we are the coolest people doing the hardest job out there on the front lines. Erica Olson contends that we wield unfathomable power. And Madeline Lingle recognized that we are dangerous people because we have enough vocabulary to recognize injustice and to speak out loudly about it. It's up to us to protect the lamp and to tend the flame of knowledge. I challenge us to go out to be the lamplighters. Along the way, Don't forget Neil Gaiman's #1 rule about librarians. I will let you look that one up for yourself. My sincere appreciation for the opportunity to speak with you tonight, and congratulations on your accomplishments. Take care.
John, thank you for that excellent speech. We really appreciate you being here, and thanks for your words of wisdom. I'm really delighted and proud to introduce Michelle Underhill, and I'm most proud to say that she is a 2011 alum of our program. She began her career at Wake County Public Libraries. After a stint at the North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources, she held various positions at the North Carolina State Library and has recently returned as state librarian. And when we heard her name called as the new state librarian, we were just really so thrilled and excited. She is the 2011 recipient of the Gail Cengage Award for Excellence in Reference and Adult Services for her work in North Carolina Encyclopedia. We welcome you, Michelle, and we're so grateful for your time and your wisdom. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you all for inviting me and allowing me to be a part of this incredible celebration. I am just so excited and honored to be here today, and I want to extend a heartfelt congratulations to the graduates for completing your master's at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Your hard work has paid off. And to friends and family who are here with you, your support has helped them get here. So congratulations to all of you. Well done. Your degree, of course, is a great accomplishment, but I also hope that you have something else celebratory planned, even after this graduation. Commemorate the moment, whether it be a special dinner, a party, a vacation, a staycation, if that's more your style, just something to further honor the hard work that you have put into achieving this degree. It's well earned and well deserved. And one thing that I think we all were reminded of during COVID is that self-care is important. Honoring and celebrating your successes is a part of self-care. We also know that change has become our new normal, right? You chose change by starting your degree. We know that COVID-19 impacted your class and classes before yours. We're still changing as a result. Work is changing as a result. There's something else, though, that sets your class apart from other classes. You have the honor of saying that you started your master's degree before ChatGPT was publicly available. Those initial assignments, those papers, without a doubt, are your own. Not that we ever thought a library student would use ChatGPT for an assignment unless it was the assignment. And I suspect some faculty here might use it in assignments, but it's an interesting point in time, right? We have TV writers that are concerned about AI being used for their positions and more. But artificial intelligence will also help drive change. And adapting to new technologies is nothing new for libraries. Libraries are very resourceful. And just like with other technological innovations, libraries are finding ways to incorporate artificial intelligence into programs, services, projects to utilize it to better serve their communities. I'm sure people here today have likely already found great uses for these tools in their library. So embrace being change makers. Your studies at UNCG have armed you with the core fundamentals inherent in librarianship. You have the foundation and some building blocks. We recognize the importance of community engagement and that libraries exist to serve all communities. That library services are as diverse as library communities. We understand that while information and literacy remain a primary part of library services. In today's world, there are many different kinds of literacy, and libraries offer programs just to support their communities in improving their digital literacy, their health literacy, their financial literacy, and more. It may vary a bit by the type of library, but we adapt and serve the varied needs of our communities. And we understand the importance of patron privacy and intellectual freedom, in addition to intellectual property and copyright, and the importance of service, library service, and all that that includes. But now you get to decide what you're going to build on that foundation. What additional blocks are you going to add to your structure? You get to determine what librarianship will become. No pressure there. Because beyond those core fundamentals, librarianship is a truly interdisciplinary field. And this means that as lifelong learners, yes, it's important to take advantage of the experience and knowledge of our library colleagues. We can also learn and borrow from other fields, like computer science and artificial intelligence, like public administration, business and management, like public relations and marketing. We definitely need that right now, right? Like social work, education, history and public history, and more. So let's remain curious. Take advantage of the many continuing education opportunities available to librarians, but also remember to crash conferences and other disciplines. And take advantage of continuing education opportunities outside of librarianships too. Again, we can draw from other fields and we can take the very best from those fields while driving change within librarianship too. So since librarianship is interdisciplinary, most everything can be relevant to it, right? So this means that the experiences we had prior to going into libraries and experiences we have or will have outside of libraries can also be applied in libraries. The world is our sandbox. It's our test instance. It's our beta. Everything is iterative, and we should look for that continuous improvement in our work, because that always means that our best work is always still ahead. And our job, of course, is to remain focused on the needs within our communities, the problems or pain points felt by our communities, and finding ways to ease them. As such, we can't be wed to any particular solution. And change takes time, and when mistakes happen along the way, we just have to remember that mistakes are just an opportunity to try again with more information. Learning and growth for ourselves, for our projects, for our programs are the result. And again, each of you have worked so hard to be here today. My hope is that this degree helps you land your next dream job, and that what you learn from it can help you land another dream job. I hope that throughout your library career, every job is a dream job, and that you have new experiences, learn new skills, new information, new ways of looking at issues or the world as a result. I'm looking forward to seeing what lies ahead for each of you and the impact that you have on your communities, no matter what type of library you work in, and how you change libraries. So thank you once again for inviting me to speak here. Congratulations to each of you. And now it's time to celebrate you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Michelle. I love those words of encouragement to celebrate you. Everyone in this group tonight has worked so very hard to get where you are, to work with your families, to juggle full-time jobs, families, and schools. So we're so appreciative of that. And I appreciate the words that you've said, Michelle, to embrace being the change makers. She's challenging us, isn't she, to adapt and serve the needs of our communities. And I really liked, Michelle, when you said mistakes are just an opportunity, right, to try something a different way. So we look forward to seeing all of the change makers out there at our conferences, connecting with you and following with you professionally as our alumni colleagues now. So welcome to the alumni. We're glad to have you. Thank you so much, Michelle. We have just a very few things we need to tell you as we move into our opportunity to discuss and announce our students. And that is, we want to hear you, believe it or not. So we're going to invite you, when your student is called, when your graduate is called, to share your video and unmute and celebrate a little bit, and then make sure you remute and mute your video as well. So that way we'll have a chance for everyone to be celebrated as we're moving through. Also, feel free to put something in the chat if you would like to. The names are in order of those who are pictured, just like the program that was handed out. So if you want to follow along with that, you are welcome to do that. Please make sure you stay muted until your student or your graduate is announced, and we want to hear from you. So I would like to introduce to you the class of 2023, our MED in Instructional Technology and Design graduates, to be announced by Dr. Katie Walters.
Hello, I am so happy to be here tonight to announce our MED graduates. So first we have Jana Artis. Jennifer Johnson. Alexa Saba. Heather Weinerman. Tabitha Woods. Congratulations, all of you.
And now we have our MLIS candidates and now graduates. Peter Dare Bagwell. Gray Benson. Megan Andrioli Black. Tommy Crumley Black. Destiny Mariah Brooks. Sean Brooks. Troy Mark Brooks. Jana Colleen Brown. Jill Brown. Stevie Bryson. Veda Bunker. Patrick Cash. Emily Chilton. Desiree Rose Sitak. Jeffrey Cockrell. Maria Rose Davis. Emily Elizabeth Dockery. Heather Lynn Donovan. Annalie Lucia Farrell. Anna Catherine Gentry. Margaret Landers Grayton. Sarah Merck Hale. Molly Rose Hanson. Jessica Wilder Harper. Bria Victoria Harris. Yay.
Thank you, thank you.
Elizabeth Carnes Hawthorne. Kyle Wesley Hearns. Paige Michelle Henley. Jennifer Hernandez. Jarrell Ruth Horn. Dorothy Monice Howell. Tiffany Lynn Ivers. Brenna Elizabeth Jones. Susan Marie Cowder. Heather Ann Larkin. Joseph Aaron Scott LaShore. Brittany Chantrell Lewis. Yay.
Let's go, Brittany.
Amanda Elizabeth McBride. Lauren Elaine Mirabelli. Madeline Taylor Moore. Tiffany Work Morgan. Hunter Caleb Morris. Kieran John Moritzen. John David Newkirk.
Woo-hoo! Congratulations.
Wade Foster Overly. Elizabeth Jean Patman. Talia Paz. Carl Herman Peranio Jr. Rachel Colleen Quinn.
That's my girl. Here she is.
Gary Albert Rowland. William Joyner Sandin. Ashton Binkley Sharon. Dawn Elaine Shirk. Marissa Christina Silva. Anna Deloche Sink. John Michael Tyrion. Andrew Desmond Tenosi.
Yeah, Drew.
Way to go, Drew. Nice job.
Good
buddy.
job.
Proud of you.
We love you.
Andrew Wayne Ward. Megan Abigail Watson.
Yay,
Yeah.
Shane Wesley Watson. Cassie Lee Wilson. Josette Wren. Josie. Heather Rose Wrench. And I'll let you read those names yourself. Sarah Connor will graduate this summer.
Go, Mama.
Is that mommy? Madeline Joel Hughes graduates this summer. Congratulations, class of 2023.
Wow, that's awesome. It's just great to see your families cheering you on. I love it. It always touches my heart so much. Turn on my video. I'm not sure that when people, the general public, when you say the word courage, that people think necessarily of librarians, but we know in this environment, courage is going to be required of you. So my parting words will be short. Have courage. Never be afraid to challenge the way things are, the status quo. Go out and defend the right to read, defend the right to inquire, defend the right to community. Make us proud and keep in touch. We just celebrate with you today and congratulate you.